Welcome to our first podcast. Welcome to the Lovely Podcast. I am Sophia, and I am so thrilled to be here with my amazing co-host, Alex.
Hey everyone, so good to be here with you all. Sophia, I feel like today's topic is something that, honestly, it touches on everyone's life at some point, whether they realize it or not.
Oh, absolutely, Alex. Today we're diving deep into what really makes us, well, attractive. And I mean that in the broadest sense, not just like traditionally beautiful, but truly deeply appealing to others.
Exactly. We're talking about the psychological ways to become more attractive. It's not about changing your appearance necessarily, but more about understanding the subtle cues and behaviors that draw people in. It's fascinating how much psychology plays a role, really.
It really is. We're going to explore some really practical, psychology-backed tips that you can start implementing today to just enhance your overall appeal, build stronger connections, and honestly, just feel more confident in yourself. It's all about, those little things that make a big difference. So stick around. You won't want to miss this.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff.
So let's just jump right into it. The first point on our list, and I absolutely love this one, is be passionate. The idea here is that passion, genuinely makes people glow. Even if they're not traditionally attractive in the conventional sense, that inner fire it shines through.
Oh, absolutely, Sophia. It's so true. I think about people I've met, maybe they wouldn't be on the cover of a magazine, but when they start talking about something they are just utterly passionate about, their whole demeanor changes. Their eyes light up, their voice gets excited, and you just can't help but be drawn in. It's magnetic, really.
It really is. It's like, they have this energy that's just so infectious. Whether it's their work, a hobby, a cause they believe in, that genuine enthusiasm, it signals purpose and vitality. And I think subconsciously, people are drawn to that because it suggests a richness of life, oh, this person has something going on that they care deeply about.
Yeah, it's not even about what they're passionate about sometimes. It's just the presence of that passion. It shows they're engaged with life, that they have something that truly moves them. And that's attractive because it implies depth, right? There's more to them than just surface level.
Totally. And speaking of depth and connection, let's move on to number 2. Use open body language. This one is so crucial. We're talking uncrossed arms, relaxed posture, making eye contact. It sounds simple, but it communicates so much, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, have you ever been talking to someone and their arms are just crossed or they're kind of hunched over and you just instantly feel like, okay, they're closed off or they're not really engaged. It's a subconscious barrier, whereas when someone has open posture, it just feels so much more welcoming.
Exactly. Like when someone's arms are open, they're facing you, they're making good eye contact, not staring creepily, obviously, but just engaged eye contact, it signals approachability. It says, I'm present, I'm listening, I'm open to connection, and that makes people feel safe and comfortable around you, which is huge for attraction.
Yeah. And I think the relaxed posture part is key too. It's not just about what you're doing with your limbs, but the overall tension in your body. If you're stiff, you seem rigid. But a relaxed posture, it just radiates confidence, almost like you're comfortable in your own skin. And that's, really appealing.
So true. And this leads us perfectly into number 3, smile genuinely. I mean, we've all seen those forced, polite smiles, right? They don't really do much, but a real, genuine smile, that's a game changer.
Oh, that's everything. There's a huge difference between a polite cheese smile and a smile that reaches your eyes. They call it a Duchenne smile, right? Where your eyes crinkle at the corners. That's the authentic one. And it actually activates mirror neurons in others. So when you genuinely smile, it makes them feel happy and it builds trust.
Yeah, it's like a subconscious signal that you're friendly, approachable, and truly happy to be engaging with them. I mean, I've had moments where someone just gives me this really warm, genuine smile, and it just instantly disarms me. Like my guard drops, I feel, I don't know, just a little bit brighter. It's such a simple thing, but its impact is profound.
It really is. And I think people can feel the difference, you know? You can tell when someone's just going through the motions versus when they're truly expressing warmth. And that authenticity, again, it just goes back to being real, which is inherently attractive.
Definitely. And speaking of making people feel good, let's talk about be a good listener, or rather, an active listener. This is more than just hearing words, isn't it? It's about making others feel truly seen and valued.
Oh my goodness, this is probably one of the most underrated attractive qualities. You know, we all want to be heard. And when someone actively listens, really pays attention, asks follow-up questions, maybe paraphrases what you said to confirm understanding, that just makes you feel so incredibly validated.
Yeah, it's like in a world where everyone's just often just waiting for their turn to speak, someone who genuinely leans in, makes eye contact, and processes what you're saying, that's so rare and so powerful. I remember this one time I was at a networking event, and this person, instead of just handing out their card, they just kept asking me questions about my passion project, and they seemed genuinely curious. They weren't checking their phone, they weren't looking over my shoulder, and I just thought, wow, this person is amazing. And it had nothing to do with like their looks or anything. It was purely how they made me feel.
That's such a good example, Sophia. I've had similar experiences. And, you know, when someone makes you feel like you're the only person in the room, even if it's just for a few minutes, that connection is so strong. It builds rapport, it builds trust, and it makes people feel important. And when you make someone feel important, they're naturally going to be drawn to you. It's just human nature, isn't it, to want to be acknowledged?
Exactly. It's like the ultimate compliment, really. And it's so much more impactful than anything you could say about yourself. Just listening. You know, listening is definitely a superpower. And on that note, let's shift gears a little to something that might seem superficial at first, but it really isn't. Point number 5 on our list is dress well and appropriately. And this isn't about like being a fashion icon or anything, is it? It's more about what it signals.
Oh, absolutely, Sophia. I mean, it's not about wearing designer clothes or being trendy. It's really about self-care, isn't it? Like when you dress well and appropriately, it signals that you have a certain level of self-respect. You've taken the time to present yourself. And that actually subtly communicates that you value yourself.
Exactly. And when you value yourself, it kind of gives permission for others to value you too. It's like it sets the tone. And I'm not saying you need to be in a suit and tie all the time or, a ball gown. It's just about being put together, making an effort. Like if you show up to a meeting looking disheveled versus looking neat, even if it's casual neat, there's just a different impression, isn't there?
Yeah, completely. And it's also about respecting the situation or the people you're with. Like if you're going to a nice dinner, you wouldn't show up in sweatpants, right? Unless it's a very specific kind of dinner. But it just shows that you've considered the context. And that thoughtfulness, it resonates. It makes you appear more competent, more reliable. It's a nonverbal cue that you're prepared and you care.
Yeah, it's like a visual extension of your inner state almost. And when you feel good about what you're wearing, it also boosts your own confidence, which, we'll get to later, but it all connects.
It really does. It's a foundational piece, I think.
So, moving on from presenting yourself, let's talk about how you treat others. Point number 6, be kind and considerate. The list specifically says small acts of kindness build long-term attraction. And I think the key here is long-term and consistent.
This is huge. I mean, temporary sparks might come from other things, but genuine kindness and consideration, that's what forms the bedrock of any lasting attraction. Whether it's romantic, platonic, professional, it's about how you make people feel.
Yeah. And it's not about grand gestures. It's literally those small things, holding a door, remembering someone's name, which we'll also touch on later, offering help, being empathetic when someone's struggling. It's just like showing that you actually see them and care.
Think about it. Have you ever encountered someone who was just consistently kind, like genuinely, unyieldingly kind? It's disarming, isn't it? It makes you want to be around them. It creates a safe space. And I think in today's world where there's so much cynicism, genuine kindness just stands out so much. It's almost novel.
It really is. It builds trust, right? Because you know they're not going to be like mean or judgmental. They're just consistently good. And that's incredibly attractive. It shows character, I think.
It shows profound character, and those small acts, they accumulate over time, building a really strong positive impression. It's the opposite of being transactional. It's just being a good human.
Which brings us to a slightly different but equally powerful bond builder: have a sense of humor. Number 7 says humor reduces tension and builds emotional bonds. And I think we can all agree on this one, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, laughter it's such a powerful connector. When you can share a laugh with someone, it immediately breaks down barriers. It signals that you don't take yourself too seriously, that you're capable of finding joy, and that you can lighten the mood.
Yeah, like think about a first date or a new social situation. If someone can make you genuinely laugh, that tension just evaporates. It's like a shared experience almost. And it creates an instant connection, doesn't it?
It really does. I remember this one time. I was at a really formal work event and everyone was super stiff. And then someone just made this incredibly witty but not inappropriate comment. And the whole room just like exhaled with laughter. And suddenly everyone was a little more relaxed, a little more approachable. It just totally changed the atmosphere. Humor is it's a social lubricant.
It really is. And it doesn't have to be like stand-up comedy level. It can just be, a quick wit, an ability to find the lighter side of things, or even just sharing a funny observation. It shows you're not rigid, that you're adaptable, and that you can be fun to be around. And who doesn't want to be around someone who makes them laugh?
Right? And it also shows a certain level of intelligence too, doesn't it? Like being able to make connections and deliver a joke at the right time, that takes a certain cognitive flexibility. It's very appealing. It's like, oh, this person is smart and fun.
Exactly. And also, I think it helps when you can laugh at yourself a little bit. That self-deprecating humor, done right, it makes you incredibly relatable. It shows you're humble and not, like, overly self-important.
Oh, that's so true. It's a sign of confidence actually to be able to laugh at your own mishaps or quirks. It's just very endearing. So yeah, dress well, be kind, and definitely bring the laughs. Those are pretty solid.
Those are pretty solid, yeah. And speaking of confidence, that actually brings us perfectly to our next point, which is number 8, be confident, not arrogant. Because, like, confidence truly does show you value yourself, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is such a critical distinction. Confidence is like, I know my worth and I'm comfortable in my own skin. Arrogance, on the other hand, is like, I know my worth and I'm going to make sure you know it too, and maybe yours isn't as high. It's a completely different vibe.
Yeah, exactly. Like, genuine confidence is quiet, isn't it? It's just a calmness, a self-assurance. You don't need to brag or put others down. In fact, people who are truly confident often lift others up.
Right. It's not about being the loudest person in the room. It's about being secure enough to just be yourself without needing external validation constantly. And that's incredibly attractive because it signals stability, maturity. It's like, oh, this person is grounded.
Whereas arrogance, it almost always comes from insecurity, doesn't it? It's like a shield people put up to hide their own doubts, and it just pushes people away. No one wants to be around someone who constantly makes them feel less than.
Totally. it's just draining. You feel like you're walking on eggshells or you're constantly in a competition you didn't even sign up for. So yeah, aim for confidence. Definitely steer clear of arrogance. And that actually leads us right into point number 9, which is so closely related. Be yourself. Authenticity is more magnetic than perfection.
This is so good because, like, we're all bombarded with images of perfection on social media, in movies, everywhere. And there's this pressure to conform, to be someone you think others want you to be. But it's exhausting and it's transparent, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, it is so transparent. You can always tell when someone's trying too hard or when they're putting on a front. It's like a subtle dissonance you feel. And when you sense that, it builds distrust, right? Because you're thinking, what are they hiding? Who are they really?
Yeah, and it makes it impossible to form a genuine connection. How can you connect with someone who isn't even showing you their real self? When someone is just authentically them, quirks and all, it's so refreshing. It's like, thank goodness, I can relax and be myself around them too.
Exactly. It's disarming. When you're authentic, you're basically saying, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. And that kind of self-acceptance is incredibly powerful. It gives others permission to be authentic around you. And that's where true connection starts,
Totally. It's like your unique blend of experiences and personality. That's what makes you interesting. Perfection is like boring, honestly. It's generic.
It's so true. It's a huge part of why certain people just draw you in, even if they don't fit traditional beauty standards. They're just so undeniably them.
So we've talked about what to project internally. Now let's talk about how we engage with others, which actually plays into both authenticity and confidence. Point number 10, show interest in others. Ask questions, engage emotionally. I think this is where active listening comes back into play too, isn't it?
Absolutely. This is foundational to building rapport. Think about it. Everyone's favorite topic is themselves, right? When you show genuine interest in someone, you're making them feel seen, heard, and valued. And that feeling is incredibly powerful and attractive.
It's not just about asking questions, though, is it? It's about, asking good questions. Not just yes-no questions, but open-ended ones that invite them to share more. And then actually listening to the answer, not just waiting for your turn to speak.
Oh, crucial, Sophia. It's a difference between, so, what do you do? And then immediately zoning out versus what led you to that career path? What's the most challenging part you found in it or the most rewarding? It's about digging a little deeper and generally wanting to understand their perspective.
Yeah, and when you ask follow-up questions, that's when people really feel like you're engaged. Like, oh, they actually heard what I said and they're curious about me. That's when the emotional engagement starts because they're sharing more of themselves and you're receiving it.
Exactly. And it's not just about asking questions. It's also about validating their feelings, their experiences. Like, wow, that sounds really tough. Or I can imagine how exciting that must have been for you. That emotional connection, that's what builds those really deep bonds.
It shows empathy, which is a perfect segue into our next point, actually. Work on emotional intelligence. Understand your own and others' emotions. Point number 11. I feel like this is the umbrella over a lot of what we've been talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is the bedrock. Emotional intelligence, or EQ, is basically your ability to understand and manage your own emotions and then to understand and influence the emotions of others. It's like having a really good radar for the human experience.
So it's not just about, being nice, is it? It's about really having insight, like knowing why you react a certain way or why someone else might be upset, even if they're not saying it directly.
Exactly. It's about self-awareness, first and foremost. Knowing your triggers, your strengths, your weaknesses, emotionally speaking. And then it's about empathy, being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes and genuinely understand their perspective, even if you don't agree with it.
And why is that attractive, really? Because it sounds like a very internal, practical skill.
Oh, it's incredibly attractive, Sophia. Think about it. Someone with high emotional intelligence is generally a better communicator. They're better at resolving conflicts, they're more adaptable, they're more resilient, they're less likely to catastrophize or create unnecessary drama.
So they're just easier to be around, basically? Less emotional turbulence?
Precisely. They're like an emotional anchor. You feel safe and understood around them. They can navigate social situations with grace, pick up on subtle cues, and respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. That stability, that understanding, it's just so magnetic. It fosters trust and deeper connection.
That makes perfect sense. It's about creating a safe space for others emotionally. It's like you feel like you can be vulnerable with them because they understand, or at least they'll try to.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something you can actively work on, too. It's not just something you're born with. It's about practice, reflection, and paying attention to both your internal state and the cues from others. It's a game changer for all your relationships, actually.
That's really powerful, Alex. Like, genuinely, if you're trying to improve any relationship, working on your emotional intelligence is just so fundamental. But speaking of communication, sometimes it's not even about what you say, but how you say it, right? Or how you carry yourself.
Oh, absolutely, Sophia. Nonverbal communication is massive. In fact, a huge chunk of our communication is nonverbal. And that brings us to point number 12, actually, which is lower your vocal tone. A deeper voice, especially for men, is linked to perceived confidence.
Okay, this is an interesting one. So it's not just about what words you choose, but the actual sound of your voice.
Precisely. Think about it. A higher pitched, perhaps nervous or squeaky voice, it doesn't really convey authority or calmness, does it? Whereas a lower, more resonant voice, it just sounds more grounded, more authoritative. It's perceived as more confident, whether consciously or subconsciously.
Yeah, I can totally see that. It's like when someone's voice is calm and deep, you just inherently trust them more almost. It feels stable.
Exactly. It's a signal of self-possession. And it's not about forcing it, obviously, but just being aware of how you're using your voice. Maybe not letting it go up at the end of sentences like a question when it's a statement, you know?
Yeah, the dreaded upspeak. We all do it sometimes. Okay, so vocal tone. What else about those subtle cues? Point number 13 is mirroring. Subtly copy the other person's posture or movements to build subconscious connection. This is a classic, isn't it?
Oh, classic for a reason. It's one of those things that you do instinctively with people you feel a rapport with. But if you do it consciously, subtly, it can really help build that connection faster.
So if someone leans forward, you subtly lean forward? Or if they cross their legs, you subtly cross yours?
Yeah, exactly. But the key word here is subtly. You don't want to mimic them like a parrot. That would just be creepy and obvious. It's more about matching their general energy, their posture, maybe their hand gestures after a slight delay. It tells their subconscious mind, hey, we're similar. I'm like you. You can trust me.
And it makes them feel more comfortable, right? Because they're seeing a reflection of themselves, even if they don't realize it.
Mm-hmm. It's it's a nonverbal affirmation. It creates a sense of harmony. It's really powerful for building rapport in sales, negotiations, or just, making new friends.
That's so cool. And then related to how we speak, but not necessarily the tone, is point number 14. Speak slowly. Speaking with calm pacing shows you're in control and builds intrigue. I feel like I'm always rushing when I talk.
Me too sometimes, especially when I get excited. But think about someone who's rambling, speaking super fast, maybe stumbling over their words. What does that convey?
Nervousness, maybe a lack of confidence, like they're trying to get all their words out before you lose interest.
Precisely. Now imagine someone who speaks calmly, deliberately, with pauses. That signals thoughtfulness, control. It's like they're choosing their words carefully, which makes what they say seem more important. It actually draws you in because you're waiting for what they're going to say next. It builds intrigue.
Yeah, it definitely gives their words more weight. And it feels more confident, too, because you're not rushing, you're not afraid of the silence.
Exactly. It's a confidence signal. And when we're talking about open gestures, that's another big one. Point number 15, use open gestures. Avoid crossing arms. Show palms and open posture to appear trustworthy. This is like body language 101, but so often forgotten.
Oh, definitely. Crossing your arms is like the universal sign for I'm closed off, isn't it? Or I'm defensive.
Yeah, it's a barrier. When you're talking to someone and their arms are crossed, even if they're smiling and nodding, your subconscious is picking up that defensive signal. It's like, are they really engaged? Are they holding something back? But when you use open gestures like, hands visible, palms sometimes open, it just screams transparency and honesty.
It's like I have nothing to hide. It's inviting, too.
It makes people feel safe and comfortable around you. And that's incredibly attractive because trust is, it's such a fundamental component of any good relationship, right?
Absolutely. And then there's this really subtle but effective one. Point number 16, smile after pausing. Smiling too soon seems fake. Smile after a beat for more authenticity. I've actually heard this before, and it makes so much sense.
Yeah, it really does. When someone instantly beams a smile the moment they see you or the moment they finish a sentence, it can feel a little practiced, right? Like it's a default setting.
Like it's not genuinely for you, maybe, just a general happy face.
Exactly. But if you make eye contact, maybe you pause just for a beat, and then your smile spreads, it looks so much more genuine. It says, I see you, and you make me happy. It feels personal, and it feels authentic.
That's actually genius. It really elevates the smile from just a polite gesture to something meaningful. It shows a moment of recognition.
It really does. It's like the difference between a rehearsed performance and a spontaneous, heartfelt reaction. And that authenticity, as we've already discussed, it's super magnetic. It's one of those subtle nonverbal cues that just adds so much warmth. And that authenticity, as we've already discussed, is super magnetic. It's one of those subtle nonverbal cues that just adds so much warmth. Now, sticking with how we interact, let's talk about something that really makes people feel valued, which is point number 17. Ask questions. Be genuinely curious. People find you more likable when they feel heard.
Oh, this is so key, Alex. Like, genuinely curious. Not just asking questions as a formality, right? Or waiting for your turn to speak.
Exactly. It's not about interrogating someone, but truly wanting to understand their perspective or experience. When you ask a follow-up question or you reflect on what they just said, it shows them you're actually listening and processing. It makes them feel incredibly seen and important.
Yeah, it's like I'm not just waiting for the silence so I can launch into my own story. You're actually engaged in their story. And honestly, people love to talk about themselves, so it's a win-win.
Right. It really is. It creates a deeper connection because it's an act of genuine interest. And when people feel heard, they naturally gravitate towards you. It's a profound way to build rapport.
Totally. And speaking of making people feel seen, that leads us right into point number 18, give genuine compliments. Specific, authentic compliments make people feel truly seen. This is something I try to practice daily.
Yeah, it's so powerful. It's not just saying nice shirt, right? It's about wow, I really love the color of that shirt. It perfectly brings out the blue in your eyes. Or that was such an insightful point you made about X. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Exactly. The specificity is what makes it authentic. It shows you're paying attention to them, to their unique qualities, or to something they've put effort into. A generic compliment, it washes over you, but a specific one, it hits differently.
It does. It shows you're not just throwing out pleasantries. You've actually observed something unique about them, and you're articulating it. That makes the compliment feel much more sincere and meaningful. And it boosts their confidence, which in turn makes them associate that positive feeling with you. It's a subtle but incredibly powerful tool for connection.
It's like you're affirming their individuality.
And speaking of individuality, point number 19 is really personal touch. Use people's names, builds connection, and boosts dopamine response in the brain. This one, I feel like, is so simple but often overlooked.
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. What's the sweetest sound in any language to a person? It's their own name. When you use someone's name in conversation, it immediately personalizes the interaction. It says, I recognize you. You're an individual to me, not just, hey, you.
Mm-hmm. It also shows you were listening when they introduce themselves or that you remember them. It's a sign of respect and attention. And the dopamine response, that's fascinating.
It really is. It's that little burst of pleasure, that feeling of recognition and importance. So when you use someone's name, you're literally triggering a positive chemical reaction in their brain, which makes them feel better about the interaction and, by extension, better about you. It's a subtle but incredibly powerful tool for connection.
So we've got asking questions, giving compliments, using names. It all ties back to making people feel seen and valued. And point number 20, I think, really ties all these together. Practice presence. Be fully in the moment to give others your full attention. It's rare and powerful. Oh, this is huge in today's distracted world.
Huge, Sophia. It's probably one of the most attractive things you can do precisely because it is so rare. How often are you talking to someone and their eyes are darting around or they're glancing at their phone or you can just tell their mind is somewhere else?
All the time. It's so frustrating, right? You feel like you're not really being heard, like you're just background noise.
Exactly. But when someone is truly present, when they're looking at you, listening intently, no distractions, it just, it makes you feel like you're the most important person in the world in that moment. It's incredibly validating.
It feels like a gift, doesn't it? Because their attention is a precious commodity, and when they give it all to you, it's incredibly powerful.
It truly is, and it's contagious too. When you're fully present, the other person often becomes more present as well. It elevates the entire conversation. And that brings us to our very last point, point number 21, which kind of reinforces this idea of presence and confidence. Eye contact. Hold eye contact a little longer than normal to appear more confident and engaged.
The classic eye contact. But a little longer than normal, that's key. We're not talking about a staring contest, are we?
No, definitely not a staring contest. That would be intense and uncomfortable. But, when people look away quickly or avoid eye contact altogether, it can signal nervousness or insecurity or even a lack of interest.
Or maybe they're just not confident in what they're saying.
Exactly. But if you hold eye contact just a touch longer, it signals confidence. It says, I'm present, I'm listening, I'm engaged, and I'm comfortable in this interaction. It shows that you're not afraid to be seen and that you're interested in really connecting with the other person.
It's like a nonverbal affirmation of I'm here, I'm with you. And that, combined with everything else we've talked about, the open body language, the genuine smile, the active listening, it all just paints a picture of someone who is truly engaged and charismatic.
Yeah, it really does. These aren't just isolated tricks. They all work together to create a cohesive image of someone who is approachable, trustworthy, and genuinely interested in connecting with others. And that, I think, is the true essence of attraction beyond just physical looks.
Yeah, it really does. These aren't just isolated tricks. They all work together to create a cohesive image of someone who is approachable, trustworthy, and genuinely interested in connecting with others. And that, I think, is the true essence of attraction beyond just physical looks.
Absolutely, Sophia. And, it's not just about tricks, right? There's actually a lot of psychology underpinning why these seemingly simple actions are so effective in making us more attractive and building stronger connections.
Oh, definitely. It's fascinating how our brains are wired. When we talked about giving compliments or showing interest, that taps into something called reciprocity. It's a fundamental human tendency.
Right. The idea that when someone gives us something, whether it's attention, a kind word, or just making us feel good, we feel compelled to give something back. So if you make someone feel seen and valued, they're naturally going to feel more positively towards you. It's almost like ingrained in us.
Exactly. And then there's what we touched on with confidence signals, like calm pacing, sustained eye contact, open posture. These aren't just random good manners. They're nonverbal cues that signal competence and a certain level of social dominance in a positive way.
Yeah, they communicate, I'm comfortable in my own skin and I'm comfortable being here with you. It's an attractive quality because, well, it projects stability and assurance. And even things like the pause then smile we talked about, that touches on novelty. It's slightly unexpected, so it grabs attention and increases retention, makes you more memorable.
It really does. It surprises people in a good way. And even things like using real-life stories or mentioning how others react, that often ties into social proof. We're influenced by what others do or what's generally perceived as good. When you hear these examples, it's like, okay, this works for other people, so maybe it'll work for me too.
It's all connected to how our brains process social cues and build trust. So when we practice these things, we're not just being nice or polite, we're actually leveraging fundamental psychological principles to genuinely enhance our appeal and foster better relationships.
Which is, I think, just incredible. It really empowers you knowing you have these tools. And speaking of tools, we've gone through a lot of tips today, from passion to presence, from vocal tone to eye contact. It's a lot to take in.
It is. But they're all practical, actionable things, And we'd love to hear from all of you, our wonderful listeners. So as you reflect on everything we've discussed today, which of these 21 psychological ways to become more attractive did you find the most surprising?
Yeah, was it something you never thought of before? Or maybe something you do intuitively that you now understand the psychology behind? And even more importantly, which tip are you going to try first, like tomorrow?
Yes. What's the one thing you're going to intentionally incorporate into your interactions starting today or like tomorrow? Let us know. We're super curious to hear what resonates most with you.
Yes. What's the one thing you're going to intentionally incorporate into your interactions starting today or like tomorrow? Let us know. We're super curious to hear what resonates most with you.
Well, Sophia, I think that's just about all the time we have for today, unfortunately. But wow, what a deep dive into what really makes us attractive beyond just, what meets the eye.
It really was, Alex. And to all our amazing listeners out there, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Lovely Podcast today. We really, really hope these insights, these psychological tips, give you some practical tools to enhance your connections and, well, just generally feel more confident.
Absolutely. And please do go forth and apply these in your daily lives. Start small, maybe with that eye contact or the genuine smile. See what a difference it makes.
Yeah, just try one thing, see how it feels. And if you enjoyed today's episode, which we really hope you did, please make sure you subscribe to Lovely Podcast wherever you're listening right now.
And while you're there, if you could take a quick moment to leave us a rating and a review, we would be so, so grateful. It really helps us, grow our community and reach more people who are looking to understand themselves and others better.
It truly does. Your support means the world to us. And just a little sneak peek for next week, we're going to be diving into the art of difficult conversations. How to navigate those tricky discussions with grace and effectiveness.
Oh, that's going to be a good one. Something I think we could all use some tips on. So you definitely won't want to miss that. Thank you again for being with us on Lovely Podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for listening. Keep shining bright, everyone. We'll catch you next time.